How dare you not invite your own family to your wedding? My mother's voice shook with anger as she clutched her phone. I could hear the collective outrage of my siblings in the background, their voices overlapping in a chaotic chorus of indignation. After everything we've done for you. I almost laughed at the irony. 27 years of being the family afterthought, and suddenly they cared about being included. I figured you'd all be busy, I replied, keeping my voice neutral despite the hammering of my heart. Probably urgent doctor appointments. Or dental emergencies. Or maybe another mysterious procedure Dad never mentioned before. My fingers tightened around my coffee mug. I'd just saved you the trouble of making excuses. The silence that followed was more satisfying than I'd expected. No quick denial. No defense. Just the heavy weight of a truth they couldn't refute. This is different, Emily, Mom finally said, her voice softer now, wounded. It's your wedding. How could you think we wouldn't want to be there? The same way you weren't there for my 16th birthday. Or my 18th. Or my 21st. Or both my graduations. Each example fell between us like a stone. You've had 27 years to show up for me, Mom. I stopped expecting it a long time ago. Jason appeared in the doorway of our kitchen, concern etched across his face. He mouthed a silent question. Are you okay? I nodded, though I wasn't sure if it was true. You're being ridiculous, my mother huffed, anger replacing her momentary vulnerability. Those were just parties. This is your wedding. Family should be there. Family should be there for all of it, I replied, a lifetime of hurt crystallizing into calm certainty. Not just when it suits them. Goodbye, Mom. I hung up before she could respond and placed my phone face down on the counter. The kitchen felt suddenly quiet, like the aftermath of a storm. That was your mom? Jason asked, crossing the room to stand beside me, and the Brady Bunch in the background. I attempted a smile but felt it waver. They're upset about not being invited. He wrapped an arm around my shoulders, solid and warm. You okay? I considered the question seriously. Was I okay? The weight that had pressed against my chest for weeks felt lighter somehow. Not gone, but less crushing. Yeah, I said, surprising myself with how true it felt. I think I am. 3 days after my conversation with Mom, I sat in Dr. Wells' office, my fingers nervously twisting together in my lap. She'd been my therapist since Dr. Mitchell left, and though something about her approach had always left me uneasy, I'd continued seeing her. Now, with my wedding 3 weeks away, I needed clarity more than ever. Your entire family? Dr. Wells' eyebrows shot up when I explained the situation. You didn't invite a single relative to your wedding? That's right. I met her gaze steadily, though my stomach clenched. Emily, a wedding is a once-in-a-lifetime event. Her disappointment was palpable, but there was something personal in it too. I'd noticed how she kept a large family portrait prominently displayed in her office, the kind with 3 generations all wearing matching outfits. Do you really want to look back and know you excluded your family? That you closed that door permanently? They excluded themselves, I argued, heat rising in my cheeks. 3 weeks ago, they all had sudden emergencies that kept them from our engagement party. Every single one of them. Perhaps there really were emergencies, she offered, but her tone lacked conviction. Doctor's appointments. All of them. At 8 o'clock on a Friday night. I shook my head. They've perfected their system over the years. Mom invents an excuse first, then my siblings all follow her lead with variations on the same theme. It's like they coordinate their stories beforehand. Dr. Wells sighed, folding her hands in her lap. Families are complicated, Emily. I understand you're hurt, but cutting them off completely? That's a drastic step that you may come to regret. You've said that before, I noted. But you've never acknowledged how one-sided this relationship has been. How many chances should I give people who consistently show me I don't matter? Something flickered across her face, a brief moment of personal pain quickly masked by professional distance. I believe in the power of family to heal, she said carefully. In my own life, reconciliation with my estranged father before his death brought closure I never thought possible. So that was it. She was projecting her own experience onto me. It explained so much about her approach. I'm happy that worked for you, I said gently, but my situation is different. I think you should keep the door open, she insisted. Remember what we've discussed about family. Sometimes they show love differently, but that doesn't mean it isn't there. I left the session with a familiar cloud of doubt hanging over me, the peace I'd felt after standing up to my mother beginning to crack. That evening, I found myself on the couch, staring into space, when Jason returned from work. He took one look at my face and sat beside me. Therapy didn't go well, he asked gently. Dr. Wells thinks I'm making a terrible mistake, I said, voice flat. Says I'll regret not having family at our wedding. Jason was quiet for a moment, his expression serious. Can I be honest? I nodded. I think you need a new therapist. He held up a hand when I started to protest. Hear me out. From everything you've told me, Dr. Wells consistently prioritizes the idea of family, any family, even a harmful one, over your actual well-being. His words hit me like a revelation. My first therapist never did that, I said slowly. Dr. Mitchell always emphasized that relationships should be reciprocal, that healthy boundaries were important. Exactly, Jason agreed. Look, I'm not a professional, but therapy should help you heal, not pressure you to keep reopening wounds. I thought about the engagement party just weeks ago. How I'd stood in the bathroom wiping away tears as Jason told me every member of my family had called with identical excuses, doctor's appointments, all conveniently scheduled for 8 p.m. on a Friday. Even my middle brother Mark, who had occasionally shown flickers of genuine interest in my life over the years, had fallen in line with the family pattern when it counted. You're right, I said, feeling clarity return. I do need a new therapist. And I don't need my biological family at our wedding. The decision restored my sense of peace. The next day, I found a new therapist, Dr. Landry, who listened to my history with my family and offered a perspective that aligned more with what I needed. Family should be a source of support and love, she said during our first session. When it becomes a source of consistent pain instead, creating distance is not only acceptable but sometimes necessary for your own well-being. With her validation and Jason's unwavering support, I moved forward with our wedding plans, focusing on the family we were creating rather than the one that had never truly included me. My phone didn't stop ringing for days. My siblings alternated between guilt trips and anger, clearly coordinating their assault. Mark was the only one who texted rather than called. I understand why you're upset, but Mom's taking this really hard. Could you at least talk to her? Even this more measured approach felt manipulative. He'd never stood up for me when it mattered, only played at being the reasonable one afterward. My sister texted, "You've always been so sensitive." But this is taking it too far. My oldest brother called from a number I hadn't blocked yet. Mom is devastated. How can you be so selfish? I blocked them systematically, but they kept finding ways around it. My cousin Jen, who I barely spoke to, suddenly reached out with concerns about me, clearly a flying monkey sent by my mother. My sister used her work phone. My brother-in-law called, pretending it was about an unrelated matter. Even my usually distant father left a voicemail. Your mother is very upset. Call her back. His voice conveyed more annoyance than hurt, as if my wedding was just another inconvenience in his schedule. I blocked each new number as it came, a strange calm settling over me as I did. It should have hurt more, I thought. But perhaps I'd been grieving the family I never really had for so long that this was just the final step in acceptance. They're still calling? Jason asked, finding me deleting another series of texts. Different numbers now, I sighed. My sister's using her work phone. And apparently Aunt Diane gave them our new address. There was a family emergency meeting about me last night, according to my cousin's accidental text. He sat beside me on our bed. You don't have to do this, he said quietly. If you want them there, even after everything, we can make it work. I thought about it seriously, trying to imagine my family at our wedding. My mother criticizing the decorations. My father checking his watch during the ceremony. My siblings making an appearance only to leave early for more important commitments. Mark perhaps staying longer, offering a half-hearted toast before following the family line. No, I said firmly. I want to be surrounded by people who love me, who see me, who show up for me. He kissed my forehead. Then that's what you'll have. The calls eventually slowed as our wedding day approached. Jason's family filled the void my relatives had left, his mother especially taking me under her wing. "We're so happy you're joining our family," she said as she helped me arrange centerpieces the day before the wedding. "Jason's been a different person since he met you, happier, more confident." "Thank you," I said, throat tight with emotion. "For everything, for making me feel welcome." She squeezed my hand. "That's what family does, sweetheart." My best friend Zoe arrived that afternoon, immediately pulling me into a tight hug. "I'm proud of you," she whispered. "I've watched them hurt you for years, Em. It's about time you put yourself first." She'd been there for my 16th birthday when my family hadn't shown, her parents hosting our joint celebration. She'd seen the pattern repeat through high school and college, the empty seats, the forgotten milestones, the last-minute cancellations. What if I'm making a mistake? I asked her as we shared a quiet moment away from wedding preparations. "You're not," she said firmly. "Look at how they've responded." Not with understanding or remorse, but with anger that you dared to break the pattern. That tells you everything you need to know. Our wedding day dawned clear and perfect. The small venue we'd chosen, a converted boathouse overlooking the lake, was intimate and warm, filled with flowers and soft lighting. 60 chairs were arranged for the ceremony, and every single one would be filled with someone who had actively chosen to be part of our lives. As I stood in the bridal suite, Zoe helping me with my veil, a sense of profound rightness settled over me. "You look beautiful," she said, her eyes misty. "I'm so happy for you, Em." I hugged her tightly. "Thank you. For everything. For being there when it mattered." There was a gentle knock at the door, and Jason's mother peeked in, gasping when she saw me in my dress. "Oh, Emily," she said, tears immediately springing to her eyes. "You're absolutely stunning." She crossed the room to embrace me, careful not to wrinkle my dress. "I brought you something." She held out a small box, which I opened to find a delicate pearl bracelet. "It was my grandmother's," she explained. "I wore it at my wedding, and Jason's sister wore it at hers. We'd be honored if you'd wear it today." I was overwhelmed by the gesture, by this tangible symbol of being welcomed into their family. "I'd love to," I managed, my voice thick with emotion. As she fastened it around my wrist, she said quietly, "I know today might feel bittersweet without your parents. But I want you to know that you're our daughter now too. You have been from the moment Jason brought you home." Her words touched a place inside me that had been hollow for so long. Not erasing the hurt of my past, but offering something new to fill the space. The ceremony was everything I'd hoped for, meaningful without being overly formal, personal without being trite. As Jason and I exchanged vows, I looked out at the faces watching us. Friends who had been there through every up and down. Jason's family, who had embraced me completely. Colleagues who had become friends. Every seat filled with someone who had chosen to be there. No empty chairs. No excuses. No disappointments. At the reception, during his toast, Jason's father raised his glass with tears in his eyes. In our family, we believe that love isn't about blood. It's about choice. It's about showing up, being present, celebrating the good times, and supporting each other through the hard ones. He looked directly at me. "Emily, we are so grateful that you chose Jason, and that he was smart enough to choose you. Welcome to our family, daughter." Later, as Jason and I swayed together during our first dance, he whispered, "Any regrets?" I considered the questions seriously, thinking of the blocked numbers on my phone, of the family that had never truly been mine. "Not one," I replied honestly. "This is exactly how it should be. Everyone here wants to be here. Everyone here sees me." "I see you," he said, pulling me closer. I always will. And in that moment, surrounded by chosen family, I finally felt what had eluded me for 27 years. I was home. 3 days after the wedding, as Jason and I prepared for our honeymoon, my phone rang with an unfamiliar number. Against my better judgment, I answered. Emily? My father's voice, using a different phone to bypass my block. Your mother is beside herself. How could you go through with this without telling us? Without inviting us? The old guilt tried to surface, but I pushed it back down. Dad, I've spent my entire life being overlooked by you and Mom. I wanted my wedding day to be different. That's not fair, he protested, but there was something different in his tone, a note of genuine distress that didn't match his usual indifference. We've always what? Been there for me? Shown up when it mattered. I kept my voice steady. Name one important event in my life that you didn't miss with some convenient excuse. His silence was telling, but when he spoke again, the pain in his voice seemed real. I know I haven't always been the father you deserved. The admission shocked me. Your mother is the one insisting I call. She wants me to fix this. But I think I understand why you did what you did. This unexpected vulnerability from my typically distant father threw me off balance. Was this genuine remorse, or just another manipulation? Was he actually capable of seeing how they'd hurt me, or was this just pressure from my mother to solve the problem? I don't hate you, I continued, surprising myself with the truth of it. I don't even blame you anymore. But I'm done pretending we have a relationship that we don't. I'm done setting myself up for disappointment. So that's it? You're just cutting us out of your life? The momentary insight seemed to fade, replaced by his more familiar, defensive tone. After everything, I'm choosing to surround myself with people who actually want to be in my life, I clarified. Who show up. Who make me a priority sometimes. I paused, then added, if you and Mom ever want to be those people, the door isn't completely closed. But I'm not chasing you anymore. After we hung up, I stood in our apartment, feeling lighter than I had in years. Jason emerged from the bedroom with our packed suitcases. Everything okay? He asked, noticing my expression. My dad called, I explained. From a different number. Probably borrowed from one of his golf buddies. Concern crossed his face. What did he want? To make me feel guilty, I think, though there was a strange moment where he almost seemed to get it. I smiled slightly. It didn't work. Not even that glimpse of potential understanding. He set down the suitcases and crossed the room to me. Are you okay? I really am, I said and meant it. For the first time, I feel like I've set a boundary that's about taking care of myself, not punishing them. Jason kissed me softly. I'm proud of you. And I'm the luckiest guy in the world to be your husband. As we headed to the airport, I thought about my wedding day, about every seat filled with someone who had chosen to be there. About Jason's mother fastening her family heirloom around my wrist. About the father-daughter dance I'd shared with Jason's dad instead of my own. I had filled my wedding with witnesses who had earned the right to be there. And my future would be filled with people who chose me back. A wedding without witnesses from my past, but full of witnesses for my future. And that was exactly as it should be. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.